Welcome to Basic Brewing Video. I'm James Spencer.
I'm Steve Wilkes.
We're going to talk about a technique that is known as a hop stand.
A hop stand. That's a hop stand.
That's not a roadside thing where you can drop by and buy your hops right on the hop stand. But
okay.
It's a technique of maintaining a certain temperature at the end of the boil to get the goodness out of the hops before you chill it all the way down.
Okay.
At least that's the way I'm saying anyway. So what we have here, and I've already drawn these beers. I have this beer on tap, and I didn't want to lug the keg around. And also when you lug the keg around, it rouses the beer, and it's not as clear, it's not as pretty.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's why we have our beers already poured. So let's talk about this beer. I'm calling it the Hop Stand Cascade Pale Ale. I started with 11 pounds of 2-row and 8 ounces of 60 Lovibond Crystal. I rested that in the mash at 152 degrees Fahrenheit for 70 minutes, it says here in my notes. I boiled 1 ounce or 28 grams of Magnum hops for 60 minutes, 1 ounce or 28 grams of Cascade for 30 minutes. Then at the end of the boil, instead of putting the last hops in the boil, I chilled the wort down to around 175 degrees Fahrenheit and stopped chilling. And then I put 2 ounces or 56 grams of Cascade, and I let that sit in there for 15 minutes. So what I'm trying to do is stop at a temperature where I'm not extracting bitterness out of the hops. Mm-hmm. I'm extracting the flavors out of it, so you get more of kind of a juicy effect. And then I pitched with Imperial Barbarian yeast. That was the first time I've ever used Imperial yeast. It comes in a little can. Started out at 1055, final gravity 1010 for an ABV of 6%. So, pretty simple brew day, pretty simple pale ale. But we had some beers up in Minneapolis when we went up there for the homebrewers conference. Mm-hmm. And one of the beers we had was at 56 brew, 56 beer, the brewery 56. I know it was 56. I don't know the official title.
Oh, that was Heinz. I'm sorry.
He had 57 taps.
Yeah.
Stay away from the mustard. But one of the beers that we tasted up there didn't have any hops in the boil itself. Right. All the hops were added in the whirlpool.
Yeah.
And we talked to the brewer up there, and you can listen to the episode on basicbrewingradio.com to get the specifics on that. But we said, how would we mimic that at home? And we talked about it, and we said, well, maybe if you maintain a hot temperature mm-hmm. after the boil and don't try to chill down so darn quickly, as we usually do in home brewing. In home brewing, mm-hmm. usually it's like, okay, end of the boil, let's try to get it as cold as possible, as quickly as possible, right. And maybe we're losing out on that. So, I'm interested in seeing, cheers, what you think about this.
Oh, boy, that's really good. That's really good.
He said.
That's just a really nice pale ale. I mean, I don't know what the technique brings to it exactly, but all that hop flavor is there, and it's just a darn good beer.
Thank you. I think it's a little more juicy than my beers.
That's what I was going to say. It is. So this technique is something. It's not dry hopping.
Nope.
It's not at flame out.
It's a hop stand.
It's a hop stand.
It's a time after the boil where professional brewers, they would be doing the whirlpool mm-hmm. and running their beer through the heat exchanger.
Right.
So there's a lot more time that they have where the beer remains hot mm-hmm. but not boil temperature.
Right.
So, they add a lot of hops at that time, and we, like I say, as home brewers, since we're trying to chill down so darn quickly, we miss out on that time period.
Yeah, and it brings a different character. And I would say this is different than... I've had a lot of James's beers over the years. This is different from any of the others that I remember. I mean, really, there's something a little different about it. It's real clean. I like the this isn't really a hop thing, but I really like the graininess of the beer. And then the hops, it's very nicely imbalanced, but it's really got that kind of juicy, and yet it's not that West Coast thing in your nose either. It's not that that giant, pine grapefruit thing in your nose that you get, which is painful.
Don't put a pine or grapefruit in your nose.
But you know what I'm saying? It's like it's not like smelling a Pliny the Elder kind of thing.
Is it closer to what's new and hip nowadays? The cloudy New England IPAs, the juicy
I think
hop
it is.
character that you get in that. It's not, it's got some protein haze to it. It's not super clear, but it's not, milkshake.
It's not a
cloudy.
milkshake. And yes, I think it is. It's almost like it's got a viscous hop thing. There's a viscousness. Is that a word?
Sure, it is now.
I love it. I'm really impressed, and actually I'm just impressed because it's just a really nice pale ale.
Right.
And however you get there is fine. But I remember our conversation a little bit at the brewery, and what he was saying is that, well, you've already said it, I guess, but there's this time period that they take advantage of, and we one of us said something like, well, but don't you have to cool it as fast as possible? He said, well, it's not really possible.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a lot of work.
Got a lot of wort,
and
they run it through a heat exchanger, so it's a linear thing. So it's like it's using a plate chiller. You don't cool down the whole mass all at once like we do when we have an immersion chiller.
Right.
And I was amazed at how fast I went from boiling to 175 degrees just by running some cool water through there, or some garden hose temperature water through there.
Right.
You got to be careful, or you'll miss it. Because I was actually shooting for like 180, and luckily on my high gravity electric brewing system, it's got a thermometer built into the system, and so I had my son at the spigot, So as we approached the temperature, I was like, okay, shut it off, shut off the water, and we overshot it just a little bit. But I'm real happy with the results. I think it's a delicious beer. It's nice and simple, and we had some friends over the other day who are not the most ambitious or adventurous beer drinkers, and they loved it. And I think that's a testament to the fact that we can like it and they can like it too. Now I have a bonus beer that I forgot to get.
Oh,
so now we're going to do some fancy editing. So freeze right where you are, and here we go. Okay, got the beer. All right. Not as young as I used to be. Woo!
That's what Gig Young used to say.
Okay.
All right. So now what have we got?
We have a 100% wheat beer.
Oh,
See if I can
I
find
remember this beer.
it. Okay. Excuse me. Pardon me, sir.
Pardon me, sir. Is that the cat that ate your new shoes?
Cover me. I'm out of breath.
Well,
Right.
so we got 100% wheat beer here.
Right.
This is he ain't Heffy, he's my brother.
Now this was supposed to be a Hefeweizen, but
Got great head retention.
yeah. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
The dogs are going crazy outside. All right.
Ooh, it's-
Here, you can have that one.
That's okay.
I've had this before.
It's very clear. I mean, like,
Now, that's
it's cloudy clear.
it is 10 pounds of white wheat mashed at 150 degrees Fahrenheit for 90 minutes. 2 ounces of Hallertauer at 60 minutes, half an ounce at 30 minutes, and half an ounce at flame out. And then I used, if you remember, the White Labs 300 Hefeweizen strain that I got from your shop.
I do remember.
And the so out of shape. And the
Must breathe.
it reminds me of when I was in radio and I had to go to the bathroom during a short song. Yeah, I'll come back on the air. Welcome back.
I smoke a cigarette. I'll be back in a minute.
Okay, so the yeast was a little bit past its state, so I said, well, you want the yeast to be kind of stressed a little bit when you're doing a Hefeweizen to get those, clovey, banana-y flavors.
Yeah.
So let's see what we think.
Okay. What?
Now, I don't get a lot of banana, but there is a little bit of the clovey spice. Clovey spice is my favorite Spice Girl. But there is a
She
little
was
bit.
delightful.
There is a little bit of the cloviness in there, and the gravity. I wasn't minding the gap on my grain mill, and so I didn't mill it as aggressively as I thought I was. So it's actually a session beer. It started out at like 1025 or something like that, original gravity. So it's probably like what, 3% beer.
I actually do taste a fair amount of banana.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pardon me.
Uncle Albert. I do. I get banana. And it's not real strong, but it's definitely there. In fact, I get more of a banana soft fruit sort of thing than I do clove or spice. So our palates must be a little different, what we're sensitive to. Because I'm definitely getting kind of a banana, maybe a little pineapple.
Really?
Yeah, kind of a soft tropical fruit.
Huh.
And I'm not getting much
That's got to come
clove
from the
or pepper.
That's got to come from the yeast because they used Holler Tower hops, and
Yeah.
you don't think of those being tropical.
And no, it doesn't have a lot of bouquet. I don't smell anything. But it's very soft. It's very easy. It's very easy drinking beer. It's very clean. It's nice beer.
I just wonder if I'd done a ferulic acid rest, like a rest during the lower temperature, and then brought it up to bring out those compounds that the yeast likes to chew on and make those banana-y flavors. Whether it would magnify that, or if a wheat beer with some barley added would actually add more of that character. Because I was expecting 100% wheat for it to be just like banana and clove all over the place. So anyway.
Well, it's a delicious beer. There's not a thing wrong with it.
It's very sessionable.
It's very sessionable. I think that I would probably put a pound or two of barley in it, 2-row, and maybe let it go with that. I mean, I think it's really good, but I kind of would like to have just a little bit of barley in there.
A little bit more of a traditional grainy character.
Just a bit more.
Look how white that is.
Yeah,
How clear that is.
it's really good. This one, however, is really, really good. I mean, this is really good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But boy, this is pretty something special.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Give each of these a try and work out more so you're not winded when you run up and down the stairs. We'll see you next time. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Come and visit us online. At basicbrewing.com, you can find archive lists of our audio and video podcasts on home brewing. You can also find our DVDs and our brewer's logbook, where you can track and log up to 50 batches of beer. If you're in Fayetteville, Arkansas, stop by Steve's Brew Shop or find him online at stevesbrewshop.com. Okay, stay right there.
Okay. If I get rigor mortis, you're going to pay for this. I struck a pose.
Okay. And here we go.
Okay.